Greetings everyone. Let us start our class with a prayer from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 11. In this chapter 11, when Sri Krishna reveals his cosmic form to Arjuna, Arjuna is so overwhelmed. He could not even look at that cosmic form. So Sri Krishna grants him special eyes which enabled Arjuna to look at the Lord's cosmic form, Vishwarupa Darshana. Then Arjuna prays. This prayer is a very beautiful prayer expressing devotion to the Lord, and this one stanza from that prayer is on page 80 of this book, Universal Prayers. It's also in the Gita book, chapter 11, verse number 40. 1140. Om Namah Purastadata Prishtataste Namostute Sarvata Eva Sarva Anantaviryamita Vikramastvam Sarvam Samapnoshi Tatosi Sarvaha. O Lord, salutations to Thee before and to Thee behind. Salutations to Thee on every side. O Lord, Thou art everything, infinite in power and infinite in prowess. Thou pervadest all. Therefore, Thou art the all. Tatosi Sarvaha, You are everything. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. May there be peace in our hearts. May there be peace and harmony amongst all beings. May there be peace everywhere in nature. Last time we were studying verse number 22 in chapter 9. This is one of the most interesting and important verses. If we study this verse and reflect on this verse, then all our anxieties and fears will go away. Because the Lord has promised in very clear terms that He will provide what we need and He will protect what we have. Provision of what we need, which we don't have, but we need, that is yoga. Apraptasya prapanam, that is yoga. Kshema means kshema tadrakshanam, protection of what we have. Prosperity and protection, both are assured. The Lord has. He does it for everybody. But those who have devotion to Him, who constantly are worshipping Him in any way, constant remembrance, recollection, doing all our work as worship, in some way remaining in contact with the Divine Lord. Not necessarily ritualistic worship. Doing all our work is also worship, as we will see later in chapter 18, verse 46, where Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, all work that we do should be done as worship. Since we are always doing something, then we will be always worshipping God, including such activities as eating, talking, walking, sleeping, everything. No action is excluded. The only action that excluded is immoral, illegal actions, nishiddha karma, that we should not do anyhow. Other than that, all actions can and should be done as worship. Then what happens? Since we are always doing something, including sleep. Nidra samadhi sthitihi, Shankaracharya says. Even sleep is also a kind of worship. That famous verse in that Shankaracharya where he says even sleep is worship. Nidra samadhi sthitihi. Then what happens? Our whole life becomes an unbroken stream of worship. We are always worshipping God. But you have to do it with awareness. So those who do this, who practice constant worship of God, without thinking of other worldly things, except as necessary for work, what he will do, the Lord will provide what we need and he will protect what we have to have. Yogakshema mahamyaham, very famous sentence in 922. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye janah paryapasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam mahamyaham. Last time I told you the story of Swami Vivekananda when he was traveling in Rajasthan without any money and no other resources. He didn't have any food to eat. There was no provision for eating. Suddenly a devotee, Rama devotee, comes and gives him a full lunch, full dinner. It happened. The story I narrated last time. So the Lord will provide what we need. We have to have that faith and we have to practice constant recollection. That is our part. The question comes, what about those who don't worship God? Will He not provide things that they need? The answer is, He will provide even to those people what they need. Even those who don't worship God, don't believe in the existence of God, to them also He provides what they need and protect what they have to, what has to be protected. Then what's the difference? Whether we worship Him or not, He is going to protect anyhow. The answer is, there is a distinction. These other devotees who don't worship God all the time, they seek prosperity and security by means of their own effort. They think they are themselves obtaining whatever they need by their own effort. They don't know that the Lord is providing. They are not aware of the grace of God that is constantly flowing without interruption. But those who do not see themselves as different from the Lord, do not seek them for themselves. The devotees leave it to the Lord. They depend on Him. He will provide. But we have to remain devoted. The other advantage is, if you are devoted to God, then you will get pure devotion, liberation, knowledge, self, everything will come. For those who don't do worship, don't think about God, they think they are getting everything by their own effort, which is not possible. We can't do any effort unless there is grace of God. Unless He gives the power, energy, power, we can't even lift our hand. They don't know, they are not aware of that one. Everything happens by the grace of God. Whatever we get comes from the grace of God. But they think they are getting it by their own effort. But how can they do the effort unless there is grace of God? So we have to constantly, in some way, remain in contact with the divine. Doing all our work as worship is the simplest way. Then repeating the God's name constantly is another way. So in this way, if we remain devoted to God, He will provide everything we need. We don't have to worry. He will take care of us. Sri Ramakrishna didn't do any effort. Somehow everything he needed came. You cannot remain, be like Sri Ramakrishna because he didn't have any family to support. But those family to support and job to go to work every day, they have to do their duties. Even though secular duties also have to be done as offering to God. That will come in the 27th verse, 3-4 verses later. Everything we do should be offered to God. It has already come in the 3rd chapter. We will go to that later. Now we go to verse number 23. Yepyanna devata bhakta yajante shraddhayanvitaha tepi mameva kaunteya yajantya vidipurvakam. Some people worship God, the Supreme Reality, as the ultimate. Vasudevaha sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabhaha. That came in the earlier verse. Vasudeva sarvamiti. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate. Vasudevah sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabhaha. After many lifetimes, a person comes to the conclusion, develops the conviction that God is all in all. He is the ultimate refuge. All other things on which we normally depend, money, wealth, fame, position, power, property, relations, they cannot give us the support we need. For some time they appear to, then that will stop. They are all temporary. The only refuge, permanent refuge, unfailing refuge is God Himself. Vasudeva Saramiti. God is all in all. To come to that conviction, it takes a long time, several lifetimes. Bahunam janmanam ante. After many lifetimes, one will come to that firm conviction that God is all in all. Until then, what happens? People worship other aspects of divinity, limited view. Those people get limited outcome, result. But that will not be permanent. That is being explained in 23-24. So here there is verse number 23. Yepi anyadevata bhaktaha. Anyadevata means other aspects of divinity. Certain specific aspect of divinity of God is worshipped for a certain limited objective. We will give examples. Shraddhayanvitaha yajante. They have shraddha, they have devotion and they worship with faith. Tepi, they also mameva avidipurvakam yajante. The last part of the second line, yajante avidipurvakam. Yajanti avidipurvakam. Vidhi means prescribed procedure to do something. Without following the procedure described in the scriptures, Vedas and other scriptures, avidipurvakam, without properly following the scriptural instructions on how to worship properly, how to pray, what to pray for. Without doing that, they also worship for limited objectives. To obtain something very specific, they will get it, but that result is impermanent, something worldly. Tepi mameva yajanti. They also worship the Supreme Lord because all aspects of God are aspects of God. Only one divinity, one God is there. He may appear in numerous infinite number of forms. Those forms are superimposed by human beings on the divinity. Ultimate reality is without name and form, Brahman, as you saw last time. Tepi mameva avidipurvakam yajanti. They also are worshipping, but they don't know. Example of this is, for example, somebody wants a child. They don't have a child, they want a child. So they will ask for a child. There is a puja worship called Santana Gopala Krishna puja. Santana means progeny, children, grandchildren. They want that one. Specifically, they are not asking for devotion or moksha or liberation or jnana or anything. They want a child. That's all they want. So they worship Krishna as a giver of santana, giver of children, grandchildren. So they will get a child, but that is a limited objective. Child will grow up. We don't know how the child will grow up. It may take care of the parents, it may love the parents, it may go astray. We don't know what will happen, but child will come. And that is relationship with the child is limited, because one of us will have to go. Either child will go or I will go. Father will, mother will go, which is usually the case. The limited object, one child. So they ask for that, they will get it. But they don't know that the Krishna they are worshipping, asking for a child is same Supreme Lord. And they are not asking for pure devotion, bhakti. They are not asking for liberation. They are not asking for anything, one limited objective. Some people want money. So they will worship Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth, asking for money. So they may get money, but that's a very temporary thing. Money will not bring happiness, but they think so. Even that money will not be a permanent possession. Separation will come sooner or later. Remember Nachiketa story, how he rejected all these things that Yama offered. So these limited objects, such people are being described in verse number 23. That is not the right thing. We should ask for something that is permanent. That is either pure devotion or self-knowledge. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us instructions what to ask for God, from God when we worship God. It has come before. In his famous verse, poem, Shikshashtakam, 8 stanzas on instructions on how to pray, what to pray for. This is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says. When we worship God, we should ask only for pure devotion, not for wealth or child or fame or anything. He says, na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagadisha kamaye, mama janmani janmani eishware, bhavatad bhakti rahaitu ki tvayi. O Lord Jagadisha, Lord of the universe, the dhanam kamaya, I don't want wealth. How long wealth will last and how much happiness will it give? If a person is bedridden with sickness, what will money do? Money can buy medicines, but medicines will not cure the disease. So that suffering will be there. Money is not the ultimate goal. It is necessary for basic needs. We need money to meet the basic necessities, food and place and shelter and clothing and things like that. But after that, more money does not necessarily translate into more happiness. That has been shown by scientific studies also. Scientists have studied whether money can bring happiness. They found out that after the basic needs are met, extra money does not correspond to, does not yield more happiness in a linear way. There is no such relationship. So, nadhanam kamaye, O Lord, I don't want money. Na janam kamaye, jana means people. It may be disciples, it may be children, it may be followers. Na sundarim kamaye, O Lord, I am not seeking a beautiful wife or a handsome husband. Mama janmani janmani, in all my births. Kavitam na kamaya, kavita means poetry. Ability to write poetry, scholarship, I am not seeking. Those are temporary. No matter how scholarly a person is, how much knowledge a person has in worldly subjects, it will fade away with age. When a person becomes old, all the things we studied, gradually we forget because we are not practicing anymore. After retirement, everything will be gradually forgotten. Memory will become poor, we can't remember things. So then that knowledge has served its purpose. It has a purpose, it served for some time, that's done. It's not permanent. It's needed but not permanent. Na kavitam kamaye jagadisha. But I want one thing from you. We should always ask God for one thing. Definitely we should ask for one thing. What is that one? Mama janmani janmani. In all my births, in this birth, and if I have to take more births in the future, in all those future births also, Mama janmani janmani, Tvayi Ishvare, in you, O Lord, to your lotus feet, Ahetiki Bhakti Bhavatat, I have motiveless devotion. Not ordinary devotion, which is combined with desire and fear. Not that kind of devotion. Pure devotion, prema, Shuddha Bhakti, prema Bhakti. Ahetuke, hetu means cause or reason or motive. Ahetuke means motiveless devotion, not seeking anything, not trying to avoid anything. That kind of devotion I want in every birth. That's what we should ask. This is what Sri Ramakrishna also taught us. When you pray to God, what we should ask of God. He says, Devasukha Chayna ma, Lokamana Chayna, Animadi Ashtasiddhi Chayna, Tomar Padapadde Amai Shuddha Bhakti Dao. I don't want fame, I don't want the 8 occult powers, I don't want bodily comfort, I want only pure devotion to the lotus feet. This prayer is on page 731 in the English Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. So very important prayer. That is what we should ask. But these people described in verse 23, they ask only for limited things and they get limited things, and that is at the end of it. That is also provided by the Lord Himself. Though they are worshipping a specific aspect of God, so the Lord Himself gives all those things. They are worshipping the Lord Himself, but they don't know that one. That is, they are worshipping without knowing whom they are worshipping. They are asking for things which are not permanent, and they are doing it in the improper way. Avidhi purvakam, not following the proper procedure described in the scriptures. So now go to verse number 24. Even the things that they get, small worldly things, they are given by the Lord Himself, but they are not aware of that one. Let us do 24. Aham hi sarva yajnanam bhokta cha prabhureva cha nutumam abhijananti tatvena tascha te. Sarva yajnanam aham bhokta cha prabhureva cha. Whatever sacrifice is made, worship is made, whom does it reach? We may be worshipping Rama, we may be worshipping Lakshmi or Krishna or anybody, but we are worshipping the Supreme Lord in that form. We should be aware of that. He says, Sarvayajnanam aham bhokta cha prabhu cha. I am the enjoyer, I am the receiver and the master, Prabhu, of all sacrifices. To whomever the sacrifice is offered, it reaches the Lord Himself. Natumam abhijananti. Those people who worship a specific aspect of God, asking for a specific thing, they don't know this truth. Mam na abhijananti. They don't understand, they don't know. They are not aware of the supreme reality that they are worshipping through a specific form. They are asking for limited things, which will fade away after some time, the object. Tatvete tatvena ataha chavanti. They will fall from the ideal, namely they don't realize the ultimate truth, ultimate reality. They get limited objectives that they are seeking, and that is the end of it. And after some time it will go away. Whether it's money or a child or a promotion or a house or whatever they are asking, that will go away after some time. It's not permanent. No possession is permanent. Only self is permanent. Only God is permanent. We should seek only God. Ananyas chintayanto mam, 922. Without thinking about all worldly objects, We should worship only the Supreme Lord. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Samahatma Sudurlabha. Such a person who knows that God, Vasudeva, Supreme Lord, is the only reality. Everything else is temporary, fades away. Such a person is rare, Sudurlabha. Such a Mahatma, such a great soul is rare to come across. Then the same topic continues, they reach limited goals, such people. So we go to verse number 25. Yanti deva vrata devan pitrun yanti pitravrataha bhutani yanti bhuteja yanti madhyajinopi mam. Devavrata devanyanti. Those who worship individual specific aspect of God, they will reach that one. Whatever they are seeking, they will reach, they will get. Pitranyanti pitravrataha. There is something called ancestor worship. Pitra Devata Puja. So they will get that one. They will go to a Pitra Loka. There also it's not permanent, temporary, as we are going, as we saw in the 20th and 21st verse. All these lokas are impermanent. Whether you go to Indra Loka or Pitra Loka or Gandharva Loka or any other Loka, we stay there only for a short time, as long as our stock of meritorious deeds, punya, lasts. Once the punya stock is exhausted, we have to come back to human birth, start from square one again. Kshine punye martya loka mishanti. We saw that one before. When the punya is exhausted, we come back to martya loka, human birth. Again start from square one. So those lokas should not be our goal. They are temporary things. Bhutani yanti bhuteja. Those who worship the elements, they go to the elements. Whatever they worship, they get that one. Madhyajinaha api mam yanti. Those who worship me, the Supreme Lord, they come to me, they reach me. In other words, whatever we seek, that we get. You seek something limited, you get that one. And that will go away after some time. And you are again in the same position from where you started, emptiness. Something is lacking. This is a child or a visa or a job or a house or something is lacking. I want that one. If I get it, I will be happy. That's where you start from. Then you worship a specific aspect of God, seeking that specific thing. You get that one. After some time, what happens? Separation comes. House is there, I have to leave. Or I am there, house will be lost. One way or other, separation will come. Then where I am in? Same position from where I started. Emptiness. That should not be our goal. Our goal must be the Supreme Lord. Yanti madhyajinopi mam. Those who worship me, they come to me. He is a permanent refuge. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. So we should worship the Supreme Lord, seek only pure devotion or self-knowledge, nothing else. Not money, not fame, not wealth, not property, none of those things. Now comes a very interesting verse, an important verse. When we worship God, what should we offer to God? And what is the Lord seeking from us? What does He look from us? When we do worship God, what does He look for? Pure devotion, not the offerings. In the Krishna Janmashtami, some people prepare a lot of dishes. Baby Krishna is worshipped in Janmashtami, not the adult Krishna. Baby Gopala is worshipped in Krishna Janmashtami. Baby Gopala is fond of snacks, child. So they make 64 different kinds of snacks. Some people do that one. Offer it to him. So that is one way of worshipping. But is it necessary? Is it what the Lord is looking for? That is, sometimes they do it to show off how many items I did. That's not the right thing to do. The one thing that we have to offer is devotion. That's all He is looking for us. He is only looking for devotion in our heart, not how many dishes we offer in the Naivedyam, not how many mantras we chant, not how many upacharas we offer in the puja, none of those things. That's explained in verse number 26. Very interesting verse. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhaktyaparhatam ashnami prayatatmanaha. Whoever worships with devotion offers me a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water. I enjoy what has been thus offered with devotion by that pure-hearted worshipper. When Holy Mother used to worship, daily worship, she would do morning and afternoon also. Very simple worship. She would wipe the Sri Ramakrishna's photo, which she was worshipping, then offer Ganga water, a few bay leaves, bilvapatra, and some food offering. It may be fruits, it may be halwa that she would prepare, something, nothing very elaborate. And she would repeat the mantra for a long time, and that was the worship. What was the main offering that she would do? A devotion, not the other offerings. So the Lord is looking for devotion when you do the worship. Even with devotion, if you offer a fruit, patram, patram is a leaf. Even you offer a leaf, bilva leaf or tulsi leaf, with devotion that is more acceptable to God. Pushpam, a flower. Toyam, water. Ye bhaktya prayachanti. Those who offer these things, a leaf or a fruit or a flower, bhaktya prayachanti, with devotion, if they offer these simple things, that is more acceptable to Lord. Tadaham bhakti upahritam ashnami. Ashnami means I will eat, I will accept, I will accept even the simple offerings like a fruit or a flower or a leaf, if it is offered with bhakti, devotion. Bhakti is the main thing that he is looking for in our hearts, not how many offerings we are making. Prayatatmanaha, for a person who is pure-hearted worshipper. Prayatatma means a pure-hearted person. Prayatatmana means Shuddha Buddhehe, mind must be pure, not combined with desire or fear. If you offer all these things with desire, expecting something in return, then that is not acceptable to God. What he is looking for is pure devotion. So simple kind of devotion only we have to do. One more thing we read in the life of Holy Mother. When food is offered, Naivedyam is offered, and offering mantra is chanted, Brahmarpanam etc. is chanted, then what happens? The Lord accepts the food in a subtle way. A subtle essence of the food is accepted by the Lord. Holy Mother saw that when food was offered during worship, a ray of light came from the Lord's eyes, touched the food and went back. That means she accepted the food. In a subtle form, food was accepted by the Lord. Then that offered food is Naivedyam, blessed, which is offered, that we take as Naivedyam. So he will accept it, whatever we offer. But what he is expecting is pure devotion, not how many items and expensive things we offer. He doesn't need those things. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati. With devotion, bhaktya prayachati. We should offer with devotion, whatever we offer, even simple things. Tadaham bhakti pahratam. That which is offered with devotion, prayatatmana, by a person of pure mind, ashnami, I shall accept, I will accept it, I will eat. That is the interesting verse. So in worship, main ingredient to be offered is devotion. Other things to the extent possible. Now comes the most important verse in this whole chapter 9, verse number 29. This has come before. This is the one that we have to put into practice every day, every moment. This verse number 27 is something that we have to practice every moment, even during sleep. So let us see what it is, what we have to offer. So verse number 27. Yat karoshi yadashnasi yajjuhoshi dadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushya madarpanam. Yat karoshi, whatever you do, all activities, the only kind of activity that we should not offer to God is Nishiddha karma, prohibited action, such as telling lies and cheating and stealing. This, of course, we should have given up. We will have given up already. Nishiddha karma, prohibited action, immoral, illegal action, that should not be done, cannot be offered. Other than those Nishiddha karma, prohibited actions, everything else that we do, he gives some examples. First example he gives is yadashnasi, what we eat. Even the things that we eat should be offered to God. Sri Ramakrishna told Girish Chandra Ghosh. Girish Chandra Ghosh was had the habit of drinking. So Girish Chandra Ghosh said to Sri Ramakrishna, I am unable to give up this habit of drinking. I am so addicted to drinks. Sri Ramakrishna said, it's okay, but before you drink, offer it to Divine Mother. You will drink. Gradually that habit went away. Girish Chandra Ghosh gradually gave up. It took some time, but he gave up. So, Edashnasi, whatever we eat must be offered to God first. Without offering to God, we should not eat anything. Mentally, physically we cannot offer to God. What does He need? But we should offer to God mentally whatever we eat before we start eating. Yadashnasi. Next one, yajjuhoshi, whatever sacrifice, homa, whatever kind of ritual that we do, puja, worship, sacrifice, all those things have to be offered to God. Dadasi, yet whatever you give, charity, it may be $1 charity, it may be $5,000 for COVID relief. People have been giving generously money for COVID relief. They will be sent to India. Atma Gyananji is going to send all of that money to India for COVID relief to hospitals in India. So whatever we give, big or small, something material or some money or something, even our time if we give as dana, that also should be offered to the Lord first. Whoever receives, the Lord Himself is in that person as the recipient. Whoever receives our money or our service, our work or whatever we do, puja we do, who is receiving? The Lord Himself is present in everyone as the recipient. That's what we studied just now in verse number 24. Aham sarva yajnanam bhokta cha prabhureva cha. Whatever sacrifice we do, yajna, offering we do, He is the recipient. That we should keep in mind. You may be giving it to a person, a poor person may be giving some food or some money to a poor person, but who is receiving that one? The Lord Himself. That we should keep in mind. I am offering everything to the Lord. This person happens to be the recipient, but in the form of this person, the Lord is receiving it. That awareness must be there. I am offering everything to God. Yat tapasyasi. Tapas means austerity. Whatever austerity we do, like fasting, repetition of mantra, japa, or any other austerity that we do should be offered to Him. Tat kurusha madarpanam. Do that as an offering to me. Arpanam means offering. Madarpanam kurushva. Do it as an offering to me. This instruction is one of the, if not the most important instruction in the whole of Gita. This has come before in the 3rd chapter. It will come again in the later chapters also it will come. 18th chapter also it will come. How to offer? Not necessarily in a physical sense. In a physical sense, what can you offer to God? He is the Lord of the whole universe. There is nothing that He lacks. There is nothing that we can offer to Him. Not to fulfill this need. Offering is done not to fulfill God's need. He does not have any needs. He is the whole universe, Lord of the whole universe. But why this offering should be done? For us to practice detachment. Not mine, it never was mine. And if I had the notion that it was mine, that notion is also given up. Namama. When you do the Homa, Yajna, the mantra chanted is Suryaya idam namama, Agnaye swaha, Agnaye idam namama. They always are the word namama, not mine. It never was mine, whatever you are offering. But if I had the notion it was mine, that notion is also given up. No, it never was mine, it is not mine. Everything belongs to the Lord. I also belong to the Lord. So offering means expression of love, not to meet God's needs. It doesn't need anything. But why we should offer? 2 reasons. One is to become free from attachment to that object. Second is to express our love. Giving means expressing love. Supposing somebody comes to your house and you prepare a cup of tea and offer. Why do you offer a cup of tea? Not to fulfill that person. He has already as many cups of tea as he wants, he can have in his own home. He doesn't have to come to your home to have a cup of tea. Not to fulfill his need. By giving a cup of tea, you are expressing happiness that he came to your house. That person chose to come to your house. He could have gone some other place. Shows that he cares for you, he loves you, and you have to express your happiness, joy that he has come to your house. I'm so happy and joyful that you chose to come to my house. So, to express my happiness, that tea is offered. In the same way, when we offer something to God during puja, naivedyam or whatever, you are offering to express our love, our devotion to God. So, an expression of our devotion, offering. That is what this instruction says. Now, this has come before. Whatever you do, offer it to me. You remember where it came? Chapter 3, verse number 30. Verse number 13, chapter 3, same instruction was given by Sri Krishna. Again, he will give the same instruction later in the 18th chapter. There he said, 3:30, Maya sarvani karmani sanyasya adhyatma chetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigatajvara sarvani karmani maya sanyasya. Dedicating all actions to me, whatever actions you do, yat karoshi adeshnasi, examples are given here, 927. Offer them to me, sanyasya, my sanyasya, offer them to me. Lord has given the instruction earlier. This is a very important instruction, it comes again and again. Repetition means its importance. So we have to mentally, how to offer? Mentally only. Chetasa, mai sarvani, karmani sanyasya, 18th chapter, verse number 57. We'll do that later. There, Bhagavan Sri Krishna says how to offer, not in a physical sense, but mentally. In our mind, we should say, O Lord, I am offering this to you, not because you need it, because I love you. I want to express my devotion by offering this to you. Whatever it is, may a fruit or a flower or a cup of water, a spoonful of water, or anything that we do should be offered mentally. That way, mind becomes free from all attachment and devotion will increase. That is the simplest spiritual practice, offering mentally everything to God, everything that we do to God. The simplest spiritual practice that anybody can do at any time and at all times. In the same idea has been expressed by Shankara in a beautiful verse which has come before. There it says, आत्मात्वं गिरिजामतिः सहचरा प्राणा शरीरं गृहं पूजा ते विषयोपभोगरचना निद्रा समाधिस्थितिः संचार पदयो प्रदक्षिणविधिः स्तोत्राणि सर्वा गिरो यद्यत् कर्म करोमि तत्तदखिलं शंभो तवाराधनम्. O Lord Shambho, yadyat karma karomi, whatever work I do, tattadakhilam, all that work, tava aradhanam is your worship. Everything I do is your worship. You have to keep that attitude in mind. That is the essence of this verse number 27, something that we can and we have to practice every moment of our lives. So we shall stop here and continue by the grace of God next week. All of you stay well and stay in touch. Let me close with a closing prayer. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. O Lord, may all be happy, may all be free from diseases and other problems. May all be living harmoniously with each other, with no ill will or hatred towards each other. May all be happy and free from all kinds of suffering, from Adhyatmika Tapa, from Adibhautika Tapa and Adidaivika Tapa. May there be peace in our hearts, Adhyatmika Shanti. May there be peace and harmony amongst all beings, Adibhautika Shanti. And may there be peace everywhere in nature, Adidaivika Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Sarvam Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Stay well and stay in touch. God willing, we shall see next week again. Thank you. Namaskar.